Adequate notice of this meeting of Mayor and Council has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan? Here. Councilwoman Kinney?
Here.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Here.
Councilwoman Rondanaro?
Here.
Councilman Levis?
Here. Okay, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence for our troops, their families, and first responders. Thank you. The first thing on our agenda, we have a Belmar Fire Department discussion as part of our workshop. Who's starting off?
Sure.
That discussion.
Is it presentation?
Yeah, you guys
State your name and address, please.
Hold on one
Eugene
second.
Kavanaugh, 1840 Frontwood Road, Lake Humble, New Jersey.
One second.
There it goes.
Mark, can you hit the light?
It's just warming up.
Pardon my back.
No, it's all gone. I got it. I've just been watching the kids. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Chip Kavanaugh, and I am the Borough's Fire Administrator. Thank you for the opportunity to update you on the status of Union Fire Company and the Greater Belmar Fire Department. First, I want to say that the Belmar Fire Department is in great shape. We have over 70 people who have signed up to volunteer, and we respond to hundreds of residents' calls every year. For those of you who don't know, the Belmar Fire Department is currently made up of 3 companies. Goodwill, which is next to St. Rose on 7th Avenue, the Volunteer Hook and Ladder Company, located on 11th Avenue, and the Union Fire Company, located on 9th Avenue. The entire fire department is made up of volunteers who are not paid, but who must meet the same requirements as paid firefighters. They must complete hours of extensive training before they can even put on turnout gear. Then, they must keep up their learned skills by training. Goodwill and Hook and Ladder train as companies 2 to 4 times a month. Each year, we are expected to train in a live burn, which is offered by the Monmouth County Fire Academy. All of these are time-consuming and physically taxing, and our firefighters deserve our thanks. We should also note that perhaps because of the time commitment and other pressures, the number of volunteers has decreased dramatically in the United States. In New Jersey, towns that have housed multiple companies have started to consolidate, including Spring Lake just last year. In Belmar, we have tried very hard to keep recruiting new members and keep our firefighters trained and ready. As you can see though, while Goodwill and Hook and Ladder have kept up their membership and certifications, Union has not. Currently, they only have 2 members who are completed the mandatory and highly recommended state certifications. With low membership numbers, it is understandable that they would have a hard time responding to calls. In 2023, prior to its suspension, of the 283 calls, Union has only responded to 30. This is not a new trend. As you can see in the graph charting the 5-year trend, Union has struggled to field enough firefighters to respond to calls. Now, Union does have some members who respond to a high number of calls. However, one firefighter cannot take out the truck by himself. You need your fellow volunteers to respond with you, and Union does not have the numbers. Just as critically though, Union has not been training. I need to speak plainly. It is unsafe to have someone responding to a fire who is not certified, who has not kept up their training. We need to be able to trust our fellow members when we are entering in a life-threatening situation. An untrained firefighter puts us all at risk. Even worse, they could put the lives of residents at risk. This is an urgent public safety issue. I believe we should consolidate to better serve the Belmar community. Closing Union Fire Company will not create a public safety issue. They have been suspended since January, and we've been responding to every call in Belmar. Union Fire Company does not have enough state-certified members. They have not completed sufficient training since their suspension in January, despite being able to do so and being aware that it was a condition of the reinstatement. Members can transfer from companies and continue to serve the Belmar community. I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Mayor, am I going to ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. You had said that, thank you for your presentation, and thank you to all of the firefighters in Belmar who work so hard for us. You had mentioned that one person can't take out the fire truck and do it on their own. How many members do you actually need to respond to a fire?
The ideal thing is to at least have a 4-man crew, but sometimes you do run a little short, but the ideal thing is to have a 4-man crew.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, I want to say thank you so much to you and to all of our members who are here. My husband volunteers. I'm very familiar with the time commitment, the physical commitment, so thank you. And everyone up here appreciates your service. I was wondering if you could go elaborate a little bit on the training. Like, what is involved? What are the trainings that are required? What are recommended? And what has been done? And if I know Chief Pringle's here, if he wants to.
Yeah, can I let Chief Brennan do that?
Sean Pringle, Chief of the Belmar Fire Department. First of all, I'm going to just go over what's required for a firefighter in Belmar. So the minimum requirement is highly recommended. It used to be mandatory, but there was a little wordage in the state, which they are going to correct. And so this is highly recommended, this training right now, but it's going to be changed in the future. So the highly recommended is a firefighter 1, hazardous material awareness, and hazardous material operations. What is mandatory is IS 100, it's the Incident Command System Introduction. IS 200 is a basic ICS for initial response. IS 700 for the National Incident Management System Introduction. And IS 800, which is a National Response Framework Introduction. They are the qualifications for a fire. But also we have to do annual training, which requires a fit test, is that the mask that we wear on a Scott pack, a live burn at any of the academies where we go into a live fire. We also have to do 6 hours on air throughout that year, training at our firehouse or going to other academies to get 6 hours on a Scott air pack. We have to do right to know. We have to do bloodborne pathogens. We do the lockout, tag out. So if we have like a power box, we have to lock it out, but just so no one gets electrocuted. And then Borough recommends a sexual harassment. And besides that, there's just so much other training that all our members are going forward in the academy. There's Middlesex County, there's Hudson, there's Monmouth County, and all our guys are further in their career. So they're training. So that's what it would be to be a Belmar fireman. I'll talk on behalf of my company, Goodwill Host Company. What we do on the second Tuesday, that's a drill night. We go over all our apparatus, starting the saws, pulling the ladders off, making sure all the tools are in working order, pumping the truck, starting the saws. On the fourth Tuesday is our drill night. It could be hose lines, it could be search and rescue, anything that we deem the captain, we do. On the fourth Sunday, it's a daytime, it's breakfast. So we treat all our guys at breakfast, and one of our members will do a little presentation for half an hour of anything they want to do and talk about fire-wise, so it gets everyone together. And besides that, there's so much other department training. Like we train. So there's just so much training. The state is pushing for more, so.
And this is the same amount of training as a paid fireman, right?
Yes, there's no difference between a volunteer and a paid right now. Whatever they have to do is training, we have to do the same. So I'll let Chief Pollock speak on behalf of Cook and Ladder, what type of training they do.
Hello, Bob Pollock, Chief of Cook and Ladder. Like Sean said, our second Tuesday is our drill night. Our fourth Tuesday is our engineer drill, where we go over all of our apparatus, saws, All our packs are turned on, air bottles checked, hoses, everything like that, just so we're always ready to go 24/7. We also do duty crews, so on Saturday nights, we'll be at the firehouse from 7 to about midnight. And that's just us being there. And part of that duty crew, a member cooks for everybody. We do pre-plans in the town. I'm sure somebody's seen me crawling around some of the big buildings, taking pictures. We pre-plan some of our bigger buildings. And we also have a drill that night, because all our skills are perishable. You can know how to tie a fireman's knot one day, 6 months down the road. If you don't practice, you don't remember. So that's why there's so much training, because it's just very, you want it to be committed to memory. So you don't really want to be figuring stuff out on the fireground. And plus, we also do mutual aid training. Neptune City, Manasquan, Spring Lake Heights, we all train together.
What could happen? What's the worst case scenario if someone who hasn't kept up with their training goes to a live fire?
Worst case scenario, they become a victim. So, instead of us worrying about a victim that's in the house, now we gotta worry about a victim and a firefighter that got confused, got lost, didn't know what they were doing.
I have a quick question. Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very informative, and thank you for speaking on behalf of the training. How mandatory are all of your trainings? Is everyone required? What if they can't show up? How does it work with all of these trainings that you have per month? And is there a penalty for not going to trainings?
So like I said, we do the right to know, the bloodborne pathogen, all those trainings. We do it at Belmar, we do it at West Belmar, we do it at Wall, we do it at Avon, Manasquan. So we all work together, because everyone has a job and everything. So if you can't make it, you can take it at another department.
But otherwise, everyone is required to show up.
Everyone has to show up. If you don't show up by the end of, I think it's the second week of February, if you don't have the right to know and all that, you can't enter any fire calls, so you do that.
Right, your gear gets pulled until you get the mandatory training.
I got it. And can you, I know you guys hold your own drills and trainings, but the ones that are like at Monmouth County Fire Academy with the live burns, how do you find out about those?
There's a brochure that goes out, so I set it up every year. I do one in April, and we do one in October, so we give them twice a year. They can't make that live burn, like I said, Avon, Raleigh, Neptune City, all our mutual aid companies, we can send our guy there. So they have every opportunity to make a live burn.
So all the houses are fully aware of all the live burns
Yes,
that happen all year long?
Yes.
We all talk to each other, all our mutual aid companies, so we all work together to get the training we need.
Right, if you don't have the live burn by a specific date, we will call around to other companies that are going to, and we'll send our guy with them, or they'll send one of their guys with us, because you have to have that.
Has Union been able to have the opportunity to attend a live burn?
Yes, they have.
I want to go back to the most important point, I think, of all of this, and I'd like to hear from you. I know our fire administrator said that there would not be a public safety issue if we consolidated. I would love to hear your opinions on that. Do you think that's true?
Absolutely.
100%.
And if I may, Chief Scott, what do you think? Do you think there's a
I
public
agree with
safety issue? Okay, so no public safety issue.
No.
No, zero.
A question about the training that you do in-house. Are you aware of any such training being done by the Union Fire Company?
I do not know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The last time I asked for training was in 2023. I asked for the records for their training, and they said they had none.
And so according to the presentation, they had this entire year to complete their trainings, even though they were on suspension.
The only thing they were suspended from was answering fire calls. They were allowed to train and keep on working to get their certificates.
And we don't know if they have completed anything, or there's no proof of any completion this whole year, or?
There is stuff that I've turned in that shows what each fire company has in their training for this year, the mandatory stuff. So there is a spreadsheet that shows what everybody has done.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation and your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Does next steps for the council to take, and give some direction perhaps to our borough attorney, because the current ordinance obviously lists the three companies and certain procedures and whatever, and if we wanted to consolidate or essentially remove the Union Fire Company from the Belmar Fire Department, that would have to be done by ordinance. So it's time to say whether or not we want to proceed with that, haven't proceed with that at this time.
I just want to verify, they wouldn't be, the members themselves wouldn't necessarily be eliminated, they'd be able to join in the other two fire companies, is that correct?
It's my understanding that any members can apply to the other companies. Anyone who wants to be a firefighter from Union can continue with either Goodwill or Hope and Ladder Company. And that we would encourage that they do that.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions, comments? Okay, so then we'll draft an ordinance and we'll present it, first opportunity. Anything else? Okay. Workshop. Any other items for workshop?
Mayor, I wanted to discuss the ordinance on the agenda this evening, ordinance 2024-23. I had some questions on this. We didn't really see this until last minute. I don't feel there was a lot of time for us to actually review and fully understand what was going on with this ordinance. I see the creation of a position of deputy business administrator, to me, which is a little strange. This was never discussed with the council. I honestly don't feel comfortable voting on this ordinance without the correct information at hand at this point.
Well, first, there's no incorrect information in this.
I didn't say it was incorrect. I said I don't have the information.
Oh,
We don't have any rationale as to why
well, that's why we
these
have a
positions are
workshop.
being created.
Okay, we're going to discuss this now. Okay, when I started this position back in January of 2023, I recognized right off the bat that the administration of the borough of Belmar was sorely lacking in competent administration. And we've remedied that by hiring Mr. Kane. But, I've been in this business for 28 years. I know how municipal agencies and state agencies run, and we're still lacking in that regard. We need more professionals in our administrative department. We have recently hired a human resource person who's been invaluable. We have a part-time CFO, but we need, I think, more oversight in terms of what's going on a day-by-day basis. I know the next question to be asked is, well, why can't the current business administrator do that? Well, there are many, many things that are happening during the course of the day. And just to point out, in addition to just running the borough, the day-to-day things, we've had to deal with in the past 2 years, things like the Verizon towers, the affordable housing, which has taken hours and hours of time. This fire department review that we just went through, this took many, many hours of preparation and planning and discussion through the last, I would say, year at least. We have a number of projects that have been finished and are going on, which require hours of meetings with our borough engineer. We had to deal with the DEP on the bathrooms issues initially coming into office. We were able to get them to back off on removal of the trailers. We worked to get a permanent bathroom. We had to fix the gazebo, and this is in no particular order. We're working on an infrastructure plan. All of those things take many, many hours of time, and rightfully so. The business administrator should be at those high-level meetings. In the meantime, there are other things that should be done, and I think a deputy administrator would be a perfect opportunity to provide some assistance and to get the operation running a little more efficiently. And I think, we're very lean for a town that has, a marina, beachfront, and all of the things that go along with that. The marina alone has taken hours of planning between the replacement of the fuel dock, sitting with engineers about all of the pilings and other things that need to be done, whether or not when we can dredge, how much money does that cost, all of the financial aspects of doing all of these things. These will take a lot of time and effort. And I think, having a deputy administrator is well worth the money that it will cost the borough. Because as I said, when I came in, we don't have very much depth, like in the bullpen. We're right up, doing everything we can. And I think it's an important position. And I'm going to keep pressing for it because I think, one of my mandates was to make the municipality run, as well as possible, good management. And I think that's a critical need for us moving forward. So that's the reason why you see that on there. Just because something's on the schedule doesn't mean that it's going to happen tomorrow. But this is a schedule that, looks forward. And like I said, I will probably be moving at some point to hire a deputy business administrator. I'm not going to say, we're not, but that is something that I would like to do. So, and that's why it's on there.
I have to say, I agree that the marina could use like a dedicated harbor master or marina supervisor. But I'm curious to see how much a position like that would alleviate the need for a deputy. Because the marina does take up a ton of time. It is a specialization and a world unto itself. So I do think that's necessary. I also just think that, we got an update to this at 5:30 tonight. And I would like more time to talk with our payroll and other professional staff to review it.
In that regard, I'm going to recommend that the council refrain from talking directly to like the CFO and the HR director and whatever. If you would like to speak with those people, I'll have them here at the next meeting, and you can ask those questions at the workshop.
Mayor, I don't think
That didn't work out very well.
I'm not finished. Because what happens is the same thing that happened in the past administration. I sat many evenings back there wondering, how did they come to that decision? Didn't they discuss that? And everybody knows what happens. People are being talked to behind the scenes to avoid the Open Public Meetings Act. I can certainly talk to every council person separately and, and give them information, and then when they come out here, we all know what we're going to do. And I think we should be moving towards more transparency rather than less. Now, that doesn't answer your question directly, but directly, you said you wanted to speak to the human resource person, correct? Well, how about Councilwoman Montanaro? Should she speak to the human resource person too?
I would like to say
Or
that I
should-
have actually, Mayor, and I think that's appropriate.
No, but and then should Council President Levis speak to the HR person? And the
Yes.
council, so you
Yes.
all want to meet with her separately?
Yes.
Or the CFO.
I don't think that that's,
If I have
I don't think that
There's
that's
a pressing
appropriate.
issue that we're worried about, but you're talking about transparency, and you just created a position that none of us knew about. Absolutely,
But I'm
none of us
saying-
on the council knew about, you wanted to create this position. If you had come to me individually, I would have said, I think that's a bad idea. I don't think we need that position.
Okay, we've heard your comment, and I'm taking it under advisement. But I don't think you need to go to the HR manager and ask why we need that position.
Number one, I didn't.
Okay.
I went to our borough administrator and asked why this is on the agenda, and I got no answer.
Well, I'm telling you tonight. Okay, so that's if you want to discuss it further, here we
I'm
are.
telling you, Mayor,
Let's discuss
that
it.
figuring out things tonight is not enough time to vote on an ordinance.
All right, we won't vote on this ordinance tonight, but we'll need to discuss this issue and get it resolved tonight. So what else do you want to talk about in terms of that?
I'm happy to amend this ordinance if we can do that, but there's so many changes that would have to happen, I don't think we'd have enough time tonight.
But I think we still need to have a discussion as to whether or not the borough needs a deputy business administrator. And this is the place to have that discussion.
That's absolutely fine. I don't think it's a necessary position.
Why?
The borough's existed for 30 years without that position. I mean, we're just creating another level of bureaucracy on top of it. And as Councilman Donovan said, if we're creating a position for marina supervisor, that will alleviate a lot of this excess burden. But I don't think we're facing any problems that previous councils and previous administrations haven't faced before.
Well, with all due respect, I don't think that you as a council person realize the day-to-day operations of what's going on in the business administrator's office.
Maybe if you could speak to the staff more, you
I'm
would.
sorry. Can I speak? Can I finish? I don't think that we are aware of all those things, and I think this is the opportunity for us to point that out, and I tried to do that. Okay? So we have a part-time CFO. We need somebody who's going to do a payroll. We need someone to do bank reconciliations. We need someone to oversee all of that process. Okay, so this is not another level of bureaucracy. This is putting in efficient management so those things get done. These things have not been done because we don't have the right level of supervision in order to do that. Right? This is not 30 years ago.
Well, you're just
Right.
saying, trust me, I know what I'm
I never said
doing. You
trust
want
me.
us to approve this without letting us
I
do
said
the diligence
we can
to
do
understand
this.
and discuss.
We can do this, but I want to have the discussion about the deputy so that the next time it comes on and it has the deputy on it, we don't have to have this discussion again.
I'm happy to discuss it, if I may have a.
Yeah, sure, that's what the
The
workshop's
other thing
for.
is, we're also adding a minimum of $150,000 to payroll between these two positions, at a minimum, on taxpayer money, for two positions.
Not to mention benefits.
And benefits, exactly, on top of that. So maybe we should just add one layer and see how it goes before we add all this additional taxpayer burden.
I don't think the tax issue is really the concern, okay? Because $150,000, I've done this before, you know, we have, a $14 million budget, and an additional $150,000 is not gonna break the bank. Okay, and I think it's sorely necessary for running the town. Okay? It's, you know, I've done this before. We have 3,000 entities that are paying taxes in town. So if you divide 150,000 by 3,000, you know, what do we get?
And our taxes have gone up every year for the past 2 or 3 years. So-
Everything has gone up, okay? And if the future, if you look to the future, it's gonna go up even further. So, you know, I think this is being penny wise and pound foolish. I think we need this type of administration in the town. I think the town residents deserve this type of administration so that we can be more efficient. We can do more things. We can run the operation better than it is now. And that's my opinion.
So my understanding of this ordinance is that it's a housekeeping issue, as some of our salaries are already out of compliance with our old ordinance and will be, again, contractually this coming year. The ordinance gives a range. It's based on the annual 2.5% increase, but it does give a max out salary, which would be helpful for employees to know what it is that they can consider when they're looking into their career and their career's future. It's not what the employees are making now, not even what they would make in the next 2 years, but it does seem to vary in these maxes, whether it's for 10 years or whether it's for 8 years or 2 years. That part is a little bit confusing reading it. I do find it challenging as a council person who wants to work on lower priority, I'll say, projects. And I know we all have had this frustration, whether it be memorial benches, municipal signs, things that the borough residents bring to us on the regular that we feel could be more quickly completed and executed if we didn't have our business administrator working on these larger projects. And yet we still have to go through meeting with our BA to make sure that we can get these things done in the chain of command. I do think it's very important for council people to be able to have regular relationship and conversation with all of our borough professionals. We are the ones that are making sure that they are hired and that, like today, that they will be paid. We want to assure them that we care about them, we care about their salaries. I'm okay with tabling this so that we have more discussion, but I do want to put out that I do believe that there is a need for more administrative help in the borough right now. I feel frustrated as a council person that I'm not able to get accomplished what it is that I feel like I need to get accomplished. And yes, sometimes I can say, well, that's because Kevin hasn't returned my call, but if what the mayor is saying, is true, and it certainly is, that we came into very large issues that take up a lot of time. If we need more support, this does not right now hire someone for that position. What this does is just open up the title of that position so that later on we can consider if we want to fill it. And that's why I'm not as opposed to having this on today.
Any other comments? My suggestion is we take it out of the consent agenda and vote on it separately.
It's an ordinance.
Oh, this is an ordinance? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, then we can pull it and leave it.
But then we can't vote on it until 2025.
It'll have to come in January.
That's what the council wants to do.
Yes.
But I am still going to be pushing for a deputy business administrator. Whether I do it through this ordinance or through some other way of doing it. Right? We need that. You guys want to have meetings with individual people, like the HR manager, or that takes away from her doing her job too. So, the more service that you want from the administration, the more administration we need. That's my point. So, you want to have long conversations with the business administrator about things that are coming up, that's fine. He meets with 2 council people every Friday on just keeping them up to date. But we want to continue to have those things. Those hours are taken away from time that he could do other things. So I don't think it's a foolish thing. I don't think it's a waste of money. In fact, I think it's a tremendous investment to have somebody in here who can take the reins of some of the responsibilities and open up the administration to handle more things and handle them better. Well, that's my position. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. This is not a mom and pop operation. Right? We have a lot of things in this town that other towns don't have. And I'm going to keep pushing for this because I think it's necessary.
Mayor, may I ask? I have 2 comments. One is that I take a bit of umbrage at the suggestion that we meet with our professionals to skirt the Open Records Act. That is not why I meet with our professionals. I need them to stay informed and to do my job.
I didn't mean us. I said that has happened in the past.
Okay.
When I've sat down in the audience, and I know for a fact that the things that were being voted on had to have been discussed prior to the meeting because there was no discussion at the meeting. So, let's not, put our head in the sand and make believe like we don't know what's going on in the past.
In the past.
Okay? I don't want the public to have that impression of us.
And second, you brought up, that is Councilwoman Rondanero and I, who meet with our borough administrator every Friday, and that was brought up as a potential waste of his time. Mr. King, do you think that's a waste of your time?
No, I mean, there's issues that we discuss and I give information to you, so.
I don't think I said it was a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time. I'm just saying it's taking his time away from doing other things, which is fine.
I think
But,
I'm helping him when I'm there. I think I'm helping him understand, as Mr. Kane is not a resident of Belmar, nor is he a representative of voted in representative of Belmar. I believe I am giving him my up-to-date issues that are current for our constituents, and I believe Councilwoman Donovan does the same.
And I would like some of that discussion to happen here also, in addition to what you're doing with Mr. Kane, because I think the work sessions have a lot more potential to to bring things out to the public so they know and understand what's going on. I mean, the work session shouldn't just be, oh, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it's over. We need to discuss things here, and let the public hear what our ideas are. And it's not a bad thing if somebody disagrees with something. I'm fine with that. But I think that discussion has to happen here and not back there. So that is why I bring it up. I also, my comment about the professional, maybe there is a need from time to time to have our professionals be at a meeting to answer questions. You know, have the CFO here, have the human resources person here, when there's an issue in the workshop that is going to, you know, require their input or their advice. So, you know, I'll be more cognizant of that moving forward so that we can have the appropriate people here so we don't have the need to go back and talk to them and individually find out what's going on. Any other items for the workshop?
I just wanted an update, maybe Mr. Kane, you can update us on our EMS situation, as it's been reported that Seagirt and Manasquan are moving out of our shared services. What is the update on what we're looking into at the current moment? Because I know you were in discussions with another municipality.
Yeah, we're currently exploring all options, as been publicly documented. Most recently, we've been in discussions with Wall EMS for a potential merger with Wall. Logistically, it makes a lot of sense. Operationally, makes a lot of sense and could work. It's just a matter of figuring out if it works financially for everyone involved. I mean, at this point, it's Belmar and Lake Como and Wall. So really, it just has to see if it'll all work. There's a lot of mutual aid and working relationships already with those two entities. So, and they had talked about a long-term plan of possibly merging, even if we were still with a four-town model to include Wall. So conversations are going on as we speak. Like I said, we're exploring all options. It's just, you know, they're going through their due diligence to see if it makes sense for everybody. So,
And
you know.
do we have the deadline at the end of the year?
Our current contract ends at the end of the year, but the service will continue through till next year. I mean, it's not like, you know, December 31st, everything stops. Our EMS crew will be there, you know, for their foreseeable future. You know, we're working, you know, real hard to try to put this together with Wall, so hopefully it works out.
Do we have a deadline we want to meet with Wall?
Yes. Unfortunately, there's some health issues currently experienced in, you know, without getting into personal details. But you know, we're meeting as fast as we possibly can. The two police chiefs are talking, the EMS personnel are talking. It's just a matter of setting this meeting date, sitting down, and hashing out the numbers and make sure it works for everybody. So we don't have that meeting date set as of right now. Hopefully, it's on a day-by-day basis. Hopefully we get that sooner than later. Everybody knows the importance of it. Honestly, to full disclosure, Wall's being pressured as we are. You know, their personnel being targeted, you know, to go elsewhere. So they're in the same situation. And this would, if this happens, it would create a tremendous, strong organization. And to Mr. Kramer's points last meeting, we know what we have. You know, we pretty much have the gold standard for an EMS operation right now. And you know, the old adage, you know, price is only an issue in the absence of value. We have tremendous value right now. What we have to do is work out how we can keep that. You know, because you're going into an unknown. You know, supposedly the county system is free. We all know it's not free. you know, so, but we know the commodity we have right now, and it's worth fighting for because we put a lot of hard work into it, and the response times are off the charts. So we're gonna keep working as hard as we can to make it happen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, well, while we're at it, what's going on with the 12th and Main building? Geoprobes, wells, like what's going on with contamination? Do we know anything more?
We did those geoprobes, and they came back positive, higher than the inside. So the contamination is larger than originally anticipated. You know, unfortunately, the due diligence was not performed on the front end of this prior to purchasing that property. So now what they're doing, when they did the original excavation of the site where the tanks were inside the perimeter of the property, they thought that was it. And then when they did additional probes further, they found out the contamination was still there. And then what they do, like anything else, you go around the perimeter to see if the plume spread. And the readings came up positive in that testing. That was that last geoprobe. So they had the results of that. We're waiting. Our engineers have talked to the LSRP, Stattle and Company, Gibson Stattle, and they're coming up with a proposal on what the next step is going to cost us.
I mean, is it possibly we waited too long to clean this up and to get to the bottom of this? That was 3 years ago. I mean, the plume moved.
No, that was a contaminated site for a long time.
Right.
And that plume, you know, where those geoprobe testing locations were outside the property line. So that just didn't happen by waiting recently. You know, that was, and I'm no expert, and I don't know if council you want to jump in but what we're waiting on is next steps from the LSRP. The LSRP is in charge of the site remediation, and they're going to let us know what their next steps are and what that cost is going to be.
The only thing that I would say is that the process has been ongoing since, for years, from the time that we have been involved with this. And it's not a question of waiting. It's a question of this process is a step-by-step process that takes a lot of time. They put wells in. They don't put a well in and then test. They put a well in. They wait a bit. They test. They wait another month. They test, and it's a long, drawn-out process. And then when they find things that are problematic, now they have to stop. They don't really stop, but now they have to reconsider what they're going to do. And every time you do this, that's what happens. And things in the ground are very problematic. You get readings. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're bad. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in how they do it, but that's the process, and that's the process that's been ongoing. So, you know, I don't know when the last time that place pumped gas, but, you know, it's been a long time, and I think it pumped gas for a long time, too. But it's been contaminated for a long time. You have to go in, find out where it's going, and unfortunately, you know, we keep getting tests back that, you know, aren't good for us. So we have to take the next step, and that's what we do.
Anything else?
One more, Mayor. I requested that the approved marina fees that were approved by the Harbor Commission at the Tuesday, November 19th meeting be added to the agenda today. They were not. I was told you were still reviewing them. I know time is pretty important on this, so I'm just wondering what was the holdup on why we can't have this on the agenda for tonight.
Well, amongst some of the other discussions, Mr. Kane and I and council have been involved in is the, reviewing the marina stuff, and looking at the rates, and the discussion we had, and I pointed it out, is I don't particularly understand why the rates work the way they do in terms of the size of the slips and the different rates for different sized boats. To put it more simply, and maybe I'm oversimplifying it, the marina is like a parking lot for most of it, and you have spaces, and you rent those spaces. So why can't there just be one standard rate for a particular space? So I decided to take upon myself, and ask Mr. Kane to do it, to look at an alternative scheme where we charge people based on the spot that they rent, regardless of the size of the boat that they have.
So we do that, we already do that for the private leases. They pay for the length of the slip regardless of what they do. The only thing that's different is the commercial leases. And there is a distinction between different boats that do different service. And there's a reason for that, and it was debated by the Harbor Commission for months and months and months.
But I was looking at like, what are the slips, like B, C, D, E. I mean, you have all of these, like 40-foot slip is, I don't have my papers in front of me, so I'm at a disadvantage, but, you know, a 40-foot slip is whatever, $140 per foot, you know, so, you know.
Per foot of the slip.
Yeah, so I mean, if I have,
So if you have a 39-foot boat and someone else has a 38-foot boat, you're both paying for a 40-foot slip, you're paying the same amount.
well, that's confusing to me then, because I interpreted the other, why don't you just put $140 times 40, and that's the cost of the slip?
None of that has changed for,
Well, I'm saying, why can't we change that? It makes it seem like, you know, the size of your boat determines what the rent is for that slip.
but that's not the case when the people actually get their leases.
I don't understand.
Yeah, you're welcome to come to a Harbor Commission meeting, and you can have that full discussion as well.
But they need to get these rates approved before the year starts, because that's when they can start getting leases out.
And when do the leases actually go out?
We'll go out January 1st if we get a resolution approved. And we actually targeted to try to get this done by August, but it was, I do commend the Harbor Commission for doing the diligence to actually get this right. And they didn't even touch the private leases. It was really just the commercial leases that were the holdup. And I don't have any problem with this. There was a lot of debate about it. The Harbor Commission actually shot down our sort of first draft of this and came back and made some good recommendations. Some of them exactly what you're talking about, especially in terms of the commercial leases, such as looking at the lower docks, which is where all the party boats are, and charging a flat rate for those docks, regardless of what the use of the vessel is. And that's the resolution that they approved and, you know, put on our desk to approve. So at this point, it's really,
I just think it's, for a non-voter, I don't know why they can't do that for the lower docks. Why can't a 40-foot slip just cost, whatever, $3,000?
it does, it's just written differently.
Well, to me, again, you know, it might be a matter of semantics, but if you're not charging by the foot, then why would you put in a charge that says by the foot? If you're saying that a 40-foot dock can hold a 35-foot boat and you still get charged the 40-foot rate, why would you put $145 per foot? It's meaningless.
Per foot of the slip.
But you're renting the whole slip. So there's nobody who's gonna rent that 40-foot slip for less than that.
Exactly, but it means the same exact thing. It's just a matter of multiplication on the.
Yeah, well, I guess.
But I don't see a reason to hold up this resolution just because we didn't multiply the number on here. It still means the same exact thing. The rate is still the rate.
I'll have to take a look at it and get back to you.
And furthermore, I believe when we passed that resolution, the Harbor Commission, we also made a recommendation to put together a working group to study how we do the rates and come up with recommendations for 2026 so that they were ready to go and more accessible.
I'm not worried about coming up with the rates. I just want to make it as clear as possible as to what the charge is for a slip. That's it.
It's no different than what it's been in the
And it
past.
could be changed. The money way.
I don't understand why we need to wait.
I don't understand why if I get it to you next week, then it'll be done.
No, we still have to approve it.
It's the same rate.
The council approves it.
Yeah, well, we're not approving it tonight, so we have to approve it at the next meeting.
I would suggest that we do approve it tonight. I would suggest that we put this resolution on the agenda.
I was going to say no. I don't suggest that.
well, then I would make a motion that we put this resolution as approved by the Harbor Commission on tonight's agenda.
Well, then I think we should take that down as a, let's write specifically what the resolution is. I don't have that in front of me.
And forgive me, Mayor, but isn't this why we have commissions, to come up with the rules, to pass the rules, to bring to us? I mean, why are we changing the rules?
We're not changing the rules. It's just that this is a resolution that we haven't seen.
No, I'm talking about the decisions
It's
that the
done
Harbor Commission
on the
came up
highest
with.
distance.
Has this come to the council?
At a minimum, I think it should have been based on workshops, so we could have
But
this
it hasn't come to the
conversation. It's
council.
just
We
being
asked
held.
it to come to the
So that's
council.
the same argument you made about the ordinance that we presented earlier, that you're just seeing it
I'm sorry,
tonight.
Mayor, I can't put things on the agenda. If I ask for something to get on the agenda, I'm lucky if it gets there, but I can't present things to the council. It's approved by the Harbor Commission, then it goes to the VA, just like last year. And there was no holdup last year. The only difference is we've increased the rates a little bit on the commercial slips and tried to make it a little simpler. The Harbor Commission did a very good job and spent a lot of time doing that. And for us to turn around and say, no, the mayor wants to take a look at it, honestly, it's up to the council to approve it. It's not a single individual who approves it. The Harbor
I
Commission
agree.
does their job, and we do our job by approving it if we agree.
I say you put it on for the next meeting. And that'll be enough time for it to be ready to go for January.
The next meeting is January 30th, am I correct?
Yes.
So what's that give them, 1 day then to get the leases out?
How many leases are going to be,
Can you do it over?
That's their resolution.
how many leases are going to actually be issued on January 1st?
They can get them all out, and we can start collecting payment when we actually have a rate.
Have we redone the leases for 2025, George?
I did the leases last year. I'm not certain what leases they're talking about as far as sending them out. I don't think the Harbor Commission actually reviewed what I did earlier this year.
The leases have this resolution attached to it, that's where the rates come for the individual leases.
I thought we were going to change the lease, the verbiage in the lease, because of the issues we had last year with some of that. Has that changed? Or
I
we still
would have to
using last
see the
year's
lease that
leases?
they're discussing.
This is, we're not discussing a specific lease, George, this is just the resolution setting the rates.
The mayor's asking about changing some of the wording in the lease, and I don't have a copy of the lease that you're proposing to send out. But like I said, I don't think the Harbor Commission looked at what I proposed, but they may have, I don't know.
No, they're not, the Harbor Commission is not concerned with the verbiage in the lease, they're concerned about the rates that we charge, and we do this every year.
Yeah, okay. Then
What?
if I could get a copy of the lease that we're talking about, I can compare it to the essentially the new lease that I drafted.
I believe the original question was whether or not people who are leasing right now in Marina have received a copy of their 2025 lease.
No, they weren't accounted yet, because we haven't passed any rates, which is
Yes.
why we were trying to get this done in August, so
That was the
that,
point.
so that our employees would have a little bit more time to get this done. That was their request.
But my point is, we have a new lease that we want to use, correct?
Yes, I've drafted a new lease.
So the rates are not going to go out until the new lease has been drafted and approved, and then new leases can be sent out with the rates, whatever they are. I'm just trying to get to the point where, it seems like there's a deadline of January 1st to do this, because the leases are going to go out on January 1st. Well, the leases are not going to go out on January 1st, because we haven't done the new lease, correct?
No, the new lease is done. I don't know what lease
These are just the rates.
Councilman
The
Rose is
only
talking
thing
about.
that is holding us up from issuing new leases, from sending the paperwork for new leases to customers at the marina, is the fact that we don't have any rates set for 2025.
Do the people who issue the leases have the new lease? Have they been told that that's the lease that they're going to use this year?
They would be sent the new lease.
Now, our people, our staff people, when I go in on January 2nd and I say I want to lease a slip, they're going to give me the new lease, or they're going to give me the old lease?
I don't know. I'll have to check on that. I don't know the document that's in the computer that says this is the one we're using. I mean, I'd have to look.
So what, are they, do we know that are the people at the marina then not sending out leases? We had this problem before, where they send out leases and the verbiage is incorrect, and then we have to backtrack because it's not the correct lease, and it was an old lease.
Mayor, the only thing I can say is, you know, we'll have to take a look at the lease to see what James and Jay's ready to shoot out. If they're the ones that do that, then we'll have to see what they have.
Don't we tell them what they have to shoot at? I mean, we're giving them the lease. Aren't we telling them this is the lease we want to use to 2025?
If you're asking me that question, I don't tell them to do that. I just write the lease, so I don't know what they have or who's told them what, so.
We'll find out what they have, combine it with the rates, and have it all ready for the next meeting, and then the leases could go out beginning of January. We can make that happen.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an idea of what's going on, because I thought we were doing new leases, and it wouldn't be, you know, I don't want to see the old lease being used if there's a new lease, because we had screw-ups in the past with the marina, and I don't want that to happen in the future, okay? It has nothing to do with the rates. It just has to do with the
I
leases, you
understand that,
know?
I'm
And
just
I'm trying to say that
one.
the rates are not critical if we're not giving out the leases yet. That's my point. And then we can do the rates next week. I can take a look at them, and we'll put them on the next agenda, and it'll be approved. And if we straighten out this issue with the leases, then the leases can be done in the beginning of January.
Yeah, we'll make that happen.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
So we will see this resolution on the next agenda.
Yes.
Yes.
Unless I change it. I'm just kidding. I still think my way of putting the actual lease, I mean, it's like renting a parking space. I'm gonna rent this parking space. Oh, it's $35 a foot.
I think we've had extensive conversations with the Harbor Commission, extensive, about the pros and cons of how we do these leases, with both the verbiage and how the rates are done. And I think the problem is that it reached this conclusion, the rates were handed in, how long ago?
November 19th is when they were finally approved by the Harbor Commission.
And we've asked multiple times about it, and we're finding out here that, unbeknownst to any of us, that there was this particular holdup. And like I said, I would love it, we'd all love it if you would come to a Harbor Commission meeting and ask the people who have been doing these questions, because I think we would have a great conversation. And my worry too here is that if you're going to present an entirely new thing, there's always a chance that it doesn't pass. And I think we just need to be prepared for that.
But the Harbor Commission has to understand that the final say is with the council.
I am talking about the council.
No matter what the Harbor Commission says, you know, we have the ultimate decision as to what is done, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Well,
so,
it would be unwise for us not to take their advice when it comes to.
I'm not saying we won't take their advice, but they need to understand that their role is to advise us.
And they've done
They
that.
have advised us,
Yeah.
and we have the option to either take their advice, not take their advice, or modify their advice, as we do with any commission. Okay?
And we do have two council people who
Yeah.
are on the commission, so that, I think that has a heavier weight in, as far
I
as
don't think so.
my view.
We'll have it.
We'll have it ready. All right.
I'm prepared to vote on it tonight if we can get it
I'm not.
done. Well, I'm making a motion, a formal motion, that we add the approved Harbor Commission rates to tonight's agenda.
April, can we do that? Is there a resolution to bring onto the agenda?
I don't have the rate, I'm sorry, I don't have the rates to read out. for
First of all, it has to be a
resolution.
second.
Yes.
I'll second it.
I would like the motion written down, so there's no misunderstanding. Like once before, we had a motion from the chair, and it wasn't clear as to exactly what the motion is. So if you want to write it down on a piece of paper?
Sure. The motion is to approve the recommended rates from the Belmar Harbor Commission Belmar Harbor Commission for the year 2025.
What is the document that you're referencing?
From the meeting minutes from the Harbor Commission, Marina fees for Belmar Marina for 2025 version B.
And did you have a copy of that?
You guys, I have this, but it also exists digitally in the meeting minutes from the Harbor Commission.
Okay, does everybody know the numbers that they're voting on?
I don't have a copy for, do you have, does any other council person have a copy?
I do.
Two people have copies.
I have seen this before, though. This was one of the things that Councilwoman Donovan had brought into our meeting. I know she has talked, or at least given report to Mr. Kane and to myself to keep me abreast of what's going on in the marina.
April, I'm sending it to you.
So I'm reading this, it's a resolution to approve the fees of the Belmar Marina for 2025 version B.
Version. I'm going to give that to April.
What do we do next?
Excuse me?
I think Councilwoman Donovan seconded.
We had a motion and a second.
Mm-hmm.
Have a roll call.
Okay, do I need to read this since nobody's seen it, or?
I asked if people saw it. I don't know how you're gonna vote on something you haven't seen, but
We're actually, we're still in the workshop. So should that be held to the?
Yes.
Yes.
So it should really
I
be
thought we were out a long time ago.
it should really be a
Okay.
motion
Yeah.
to add it to the agenda,
Yeah,
I would
right,
guess.
yeah. Make a motion to add it to the agenda.
That's the motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Sure, yeah.
Mayor Buckafusco?
No.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Done with workshop.
I think so. Wow. All right.
Okay, let's move on to petitions.
I have not received any petitions.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 26th meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Reports of council. Councilwoman Donovan.
The next tourism commission meeting is tomorrow at 5:30, right here in this room. As you all know, there are many holiday events going on in Belmar. I'll let some of my fellow council members talk about some of them, but I will remind everyone that the Santa toy drops are still going on along with the Christmas light shows, which are both the 13th and the 21st. The one on the 13th is at 7 o'clock in Cannon Plaza. The 21st is at 6 o'clock. December 30th is our menorah lighting. We do have a council meeting that night, so I believe the time is being renegotiated. Yeah. Thursday, we have the next meeting of the Environmental Commission. The Silver Lake Subcommittee met last night, along with our borough engineer, to discuss different aspects of our plan going forward for revitalizing the lake, pursuing grants, and doing what we can to better put ourselves in a position to win those grants. We are still in the running for a few, and we've gotten recommendations from some of those organizations on how to better position ourselves to actually win the funding. So that's good. The Harbor Commission next meets on the 17th at 6 p.m. And finally, the Belmar Women's Club, the shoe drop is still happening. Those will be collected in January. It is a great program, and I encourage you all, clean out your closets. Even cleats, I asked if you have children's cleats, adult cleats, those are also, the only thing we're not collecting are skates, roller skates, ice skates.
Mid-January. What was the other thing about the Belmar?
And I just wanted to put a special plug for the Belmar Women's Club again. We are always accepting new members, and we also do great things besides these type of events. We also work with the school. We read to the kids at the school. I'm going tomorrow to read to, I believe, pre-K, maybe 2nd grade. It's wonderful, it's heartwarming, and if you've been thinking about joining, you should absolutely do it. There are at least 5 people in this room who could. A little softball update, we still are continuing to get really great donations from businesses and individuals throughout Belmar. We're getting closer to meeting our goals. I will update you fully at a later meeting because I want to get to the end of the year before I do my list of all the wonderful people and individuals who have donated, but we're making great progress. I believe we just collected around $6,000 this week alone, so we're doing great.
Absolutely. And there we go.
Councilwoman Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next Shade Tree Commission meeting is this Thursday, 12/12 at 6:30 p.m. The Belmar Lake Como Chamber of Commerce is having their Holly Jolly Trolley Tour, holiday tour. It's a trolley and hot chocolate. It leaves in front of Cafe di Familia on December 13th. 3 different rides, times, 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30. And you can get tickets to that at the Belmar Lake Como Chamber of Commerce, belmarlakecombochamber.com. A couple things happening around the schools. Belmar Elementary, their winter band concert is this Thursday the 12th at 7 p.m. in the auditorium, and they break for winter break from December 23rd to January 2nd. St. Rose High School has Hoops Mania this Friday, so it kicks off the basketball season. There's a basketball exhibition happening Friday the 13th. It's like a little mini pep rally through town. Doors open at 6:30. The boys' home opener is Saturday, December 14th. JV at 5:30, varsity at 7 p.m. Tickets are sold at the door, so come out and support the basketball program. And St. Rose High School is proudly accepting over 200 new students to the school next year, which is great. And lastly, the skate park, Friends of Belmar Skate Park, our committee is working very hard with our grant writers, partnering with the borough, and we are applying for the Green Acres grant for next year. So we're very hopeful that we get all our ducks in a row so we can get some funding for the skate park. So we're excited about that. And that's all I have. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Councilman McKinney, Belmar.
Thank you, Mayor. Belmar Public Library, the library will be hosting a holiday movie night in the library Tuesday, December 17th at 6 p.m. Kids can wear their PJs and enjoy some popcorn while watching Frosty the Snowman all snug in the library. They did this last year and the year before too. It's really cute. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Oh man, that's something old. Sorry. Okay. Belmar Housing Authority. I copied pasted a little bit. My bad. The next Belmar Housing Authority meeting is January 6th at 5:15. Our BA Kevin Kane and I met with Director Paul DeSantis and Amy Sparrett, the BHA, and our grant consultant to work on the HUD Community Fund Grant Award application. We're waiting an official change of an authorized representative to complete the application, and we will meet again in a week or so when that has switched over. I'm also working on gathering a few kiddos to do a little holiday singing to the folks there at the BHA, and I'll let you know more as we finalize our plans. A reminder that the Belmar Historical Society is having their pop-up shop again, December 14th, from 1 to 3 p.m. Come by the museum then and take a look. Beach Music Studios is having their holiday concert. It's this Saturday, is that right? Sunday, okay, Sunday. At the Stone Pony, so please check out their website or Facebook page for more information there. At noon? At noon. And then also come enjoy some holiday caroling on the 21st from 7 to 8 p.m. at 1101 B Street. Join the B Street Carolers, which includes myself, and bring a chair and enjoy an evening of holiday ceremony. It's always something really cool.
Thank you. Council President Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, they're still collecting unwrapped children's toys at the boxes around town. Thank you to the Belmar PD and Friendly Census Shillelaghs Those are gonna be picked up on December 13th at 1 PM, so get them in fast. And then, just a reminder, the candy cane hunt is this Saturday at 5 PM. There's only a few spots left, so if you need to register, you can register your children on the rec page. Don't register, don't see anything yet. And I want to thank the businesses who are participating around town.
Mayor, can I just speak on one of the events
Yes.
coming up? I know Councilman Donovan mentioned it, I'm sorry. We're collecting gifts for Santa. He'll be arriving on Monday around 3 o'clock PM to go out and deliver between Belmar and Lake Como. So if you'd like Santa to drop a gift off at your home for your child, please bring it to either Belmar for Belmar Police Department for Belmar residents or Lake Como Borough Hall for Lake Como residents between the hours of 9 and 4. If you cannot make it during those times, we will still accept it at Belmar Police Department anytime. Thank you.
And make sure you mark them with the address, right, and the name
Yes,
and the
it's
address.
all on social media, what you need to do, but the dispatchers will let you know what you need to do when you come drop them off.
Don't be like me and forget and then go racing down your block barefoot with a rap president.
Like I
asking them
said,
frantically.
we are open 24 hours, so.
Thank you.
That's such a visual.
Yeah, let's,
My neighbors loved it.
I think we can move on to the public session on the consent agenda.
If anyone from the public has a comment or question about a resolution on the consent agenda, please step forward, state your name and address.
Mr. Kramer?
Eugene Creamer, 4th Avenue. I just have a quick question here. Resolution 2024-210, resolution authorizing execution of cost-shared assistance agreement with the Department of the Army. Can somebody just explain a little bit what's involved in this? Does this have to do with the marina? Does it have to do with 404 wetlands or something in Belmar? Can somebody speak to that?
Yeah, the resolution gives me the authority to sign the agreement, which has yet to be completed, and it has to do with the Silver Lake project, I think, through the Environmental Commission. Correct. Yeah.
Silver Lake Restoration.
And Silver Lake Restoration, they're looking to see what can be done to restore the lake and get the Army Corps to kind of help. So the first step in that process is to come up with an agreement, and this just authorizes me to sign that.
Okay. I did see attached, excuse me, is this working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's entirely a directional microphone. You have to put it right in front of your mouth in order to come through. By the way, does anybody know which district this agreement would be going to? A draft of the agreement, a blank agreement, was included with the resolutions, at least on the website it was. But it didn't indicate whether this would be going to the New York district or the Philadelphia district. Do we know any of that information as to where this would be submitted?
I don't know that information offhand.
We'll find out.
We can find out very easily. I'll let you know at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Councilwoman Donovan, does the Army Corps of Engineers cost the borough any money?
Leave it depends on what we're doing.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we've
Already met once with the Army Corps. We had a large meeting last May, I want to say, down at Taylor Pavilion, along with the county engineer, DEP, representatives from Chris Smith's office, and I believe from King's office. And so they did a walk of Silver Lake at the time, the Army Corps, and submitted just kind of a preliminary summary of the meeting itself and what they saw around the lake. And now we are looking into next steps as far as analysis of potentially the ocean pipe and other issues around the lake.
Do you know who's going to be completing that application for my signature?
So, Are we talking about a grant application, or are we talking
No,
about?
the one that is in the resolution, the cost sharing assistance agreement. Do we know who's, we didn't get to that point yet. I said, who's gonna fill out that application that's attached to the resolution? Do we know yet?
We're working with our grant writers on all that stuff.
Right, the grant writers and the BDC have been working in partnership together.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moreno. Any other comments? Okay.
Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, and then now we have new resolution, which will be Resolution 2024-213, establishing the marina rates for 2025. Do we have a motion to adopt that resolution?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
No.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, next we have ordinance 2024-23. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 11, amending the salary schedules for various positions and employees. Was there a motion to offer the ordinance for first reading, or a motion, or are we tabling?
I'll make the motion to offer the first reading.
Is there a second? Okay, Councilman Donovan?
No.
Councilman Kinney?
No.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondonero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
No.
Next is public session. If anyone would like to comment, please step forward and state your name and address first.
Joe Mangione, 203 South Lake Drive. I actually have two questions. Excuse me. First, is there any update on the Verizon situation?
To my knowledge, no, but I don't know if Councilwoman Donovan has any additional info.
The two bits I can tell you is that I know I've seen a list of potential court deadlines that extends into June. So that is what we have right now. Whether or not those stay that way or if there are different maneuvers that stop that, I will update you as those happen. The other is that we've been looking over, I know the DEP has proposed new rule that has to do with building in flood zones and extending the flood zones, really looking at a report, it's been referenced in different pieces of media, over the next 100 years. And I have been trying to figure out if that would have any bearing on, for instance, CAFR permits in that new zone, and how that might affect Verizon going forward.
I noticed that, if I read it correctly, Spring Lake's been pretty aggressive in how they're attacking this. Are we going down the same road as they are?
I would say they're going down the same road we are.
Okay, fair enough.
And, you know, Councilman McKinney and I have been in fairly close touch with Spring Lake.
Okay. Second question, the EMS matter. I've noticed some of the towns in our four-town group have pulled out and gone with the county because it's quote-unquote free. You mentioned that it's not, doesn't appear to be free. Can you explain why that's not free and why we wouldn't do that?
Well, as I said at the last meeting, we haven't been approached by the county to participate in that program. Every municipality that has been part of that program has been approached by them to do that. Okay? I think Mr. Kane's comments about it not being free, or, yeah, it's, number one, I don't think, and again, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but from what I understand, it's a 5-year commitment, and there's nothing that says that they're going to keep that service going free forever. So, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Kane if he wants to add anything to that.
we know currently what it costs to run the operation. So for them, for a startup operation, there has to be some kind of expense. And whether they spread it out over the 53 towns for all the homes within those 53 towns, and that's how they're funding it, I don't know. I mean, they're touting it that it's a free service. We know what it costs to run an EMS operation. So for them to say it's free, I'm not, again, to the mayor's point, we haven't seen any data or they haven't approached us about how this thing works. So
Well,
we really don't know.
well, if they're claiming it's free, even though they haven't approached us, shouldn't we be approaching them to find out before we make a decision and commit hundreds of thousands of dollars?
They reached out to all the other municipalities that, none of our municipalities reached out to them. They're the ones that initiate the conversation. They have not done that with us.
I understand that, but the question I'm asking is, shouldn't we take it upon ourselves to at least reach out to them and find out what the facts are?
I think the concern, as we expressed at the last meeting, was is they have no track record, okay? And we would be taking a risk, putting the residents and the visitors of Belmar into the hands of an EMS service that has no track record. We have an excellent EMS service here, and it works. It works during the summer when we have tens of thousands of people here. Their service has no track record, and I don't know that we are in the risk-taking business in terms of even if having them take on Belmar and then finding out that they can't meet the service levels that the residents and the visitors are used to.
Look, I unfortunately have first-hand experience using the EMS service here more than I've wanted to in the last couple of years. And so it is first class. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. It's not the issue. I'm just asking, if we're suing things and we don't have the facts, we think it's not, we believe it's not, shouldn't we at least find out what their plan is? Take a look at it as a group and say, yeah, it's worth it or it's not worth it before we reject it and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's all I'm asking. Let's at least get the facts.
We have looked at as much as we know about it, but we're not inclined to move in that direction at this point.
Mayor, you're saying as much as you know, but we don't have all the facts. All I'm asking is, can't we get the facts from them before you make your final decision? That's all I'm asking. Does that not make sense?
I think it's a good idea to maybe invite the county and do a presentation and see if it's something that we would like to entertain.
The thing that bothers me, and I'm going to be right up front about it, is why weren't the 4 municipalities that were part of the original EMS, part of our EMS service, why weren't we all approached at the same time? Okay, and you can have your own thoughts about that. I have my own thoughts about that, which I will keep to myself. But I'm disturbed, and I hope the county administrator is watching this. I'm disturbed by the fact that his people go to Seabird and make them the offer, and then, at meantime, trying to poach our EMS staff out of our EMS service to work on theirs, and then get Manasquan to do it. And the question I have is, if you are running an EMS service, and again, it's free, but all the rest of us in the county are paying for it. If you're offering that service, why wouldn't you offer it to everyone in that EMS? Ask yourself that question. If it's such a great service, why wouldn't he have been here 2 meetings ago saying, we want Belmar, we want Lake Como, all right? That disturbs me, because I don't think that they can handle us. And I think that's the reason why they haven't approached us.
That may be true, but if I waited for my wife to ask me out on the first date, I think so, you take a shot, right? But I mean, all I'm suggesting is, and you may be 100% right, I'm just suggesting we get with them, find it out. You may decide the first 5 minutes to reject it. I don't have the facts. I'm just asking a simple business question. If somebody's offering something for free, sometimes it's not free, I get it. But shouldn't we at least find out and have communication with them and then make a decision?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. But again, I'm not happy about the fact that they didn't come to us.
And I'm sure my wife's not happy, she said, yes, eat.
No.
Deal with what you got, right? But that's all I'm asking.
You're together to death do you part. I don't think the county's gonna be with us to death do they part.
She's killing me.
That's my concern.
I like where that analogy's going.
You don't like that.
No, no,
All right,
no,
thank you
no.
very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other comments?
Hi, good evening. My name's Sean McGrath. I'm the 404 Ocean Ave, and I'm the owner-operator of Summertime Surf School. Came here tonight to just thank the council for the last 19 years, or the mayor and council of operation. 2024 marked the last year of the lease that had a 10-year lease that has expired, and as we want to let the council know that we would really appreciate if you would take the time to address the 2025 request for proposals and to start the motion on that. This business that has been operating for the last 19 years relies on people's planning, and in order for us to get back on track to where we'd like to be, there's a few recommendations. I have a letter to distribute to everyone and some material that we think might be useful that comes from leases that we hold in other municipalities on the Jersey Shore. So there's some detailed information there to reference that I'm thinking Mr. McGill might make his job a little easier as you discuss what the best fit for Belmar moving forward would be. I think everyone here knows that the last iteration of the lease that we were awarded had some flaws and some things that we'd like to see updated to get in line with the current vision that the council agrees upon what would be a great fit for Belmar. So I would just like to distribute that to everyone if that's okay. And thanks again, and hopefully we can move forward with this. I know there's a lot of leases and things that you have to do in preparation for 2025, so if we can be included in that, we
Maybe just give it to the administrator and we'll distribute it all to us.
So there's a copy for everybody, and then this folder has something for Mr. McGill with the other leases. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
If I could comment on that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, I remember when Summertime Surf opened, you guys were the first camp in this area of the shore, and you really opened the gates. There are more kids surfing, there are more girls surfing because of you guys. I love it. I think every single one of us has had our kids go through Summertime Surf. We really want to make sure that people know that Belmar welcomes and loves our surfers, and we'd love to see us get this lease right. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Guy Rizzutello, 14th Avenue, Belmar. Two subjects. One subject is first, thank April for getting the sign on 14th and K. However, we have a big problem going on. One time, which I had already brought up in the past, I was back in my driveway, somebody flew around, never stopped, flew around from K Street to 14th and almost hit me broadside. Well, that has happened again. And then just 2 days ago, my husband's standing next to his vehicle in the street, standing there. A car comes flying around the corner and he yelled at her and said, "You just blew a stop sign." What else can we do, Chief?
Shut the road down. I don't know, I'll look into it, I'll have my traffic guys look into it.
Out of,
There's nothing else we can possibly
Can
do.
we put
There's
speed
stop
bumps?
signs, there's
Can
what?
we put speed bumps on that street?
is there a possibility, because you have,
You're good, we can hear
you
you.
have a couple of police cars, I'm gonna call them dead police cars. Can you just take one and park one right on 14th Avenue, right after the fire hydrant in that very first spot?
We really don't have any dead police cars.
Well, the one,
They all work.
All right,
They all
the old one. Is there any way just taking one and just leave it there for a couple of days? Maybe that might get people to.
I don't think it's going to, but we can definitely try.
It's just a thought, it's just a suggestion. I mean, that's 3 times now. I mean, I don't know how my husband didn't get hit. I have no clue. No clue how he didn't get
Don't
hit.
stand in the street, please.
Don't stand there. He was standing right next
In the
to,
street.
he was standing right next to his vehicle. He was either getting in it or getting out of it on the passenger side of the street. So that, to me, was a big concern when he said, I don't know how he didn't get hit.
I mean, we put signs up, we put stop in the
I
street,
know, I don't know
we
what
made
else
it
to
one
do.
way, I don't know what
I don't
else.
know what, yeah.
Besides closing the street, I don't know
No,
what else we could
just-
possibly do.
I don't know what to do. It's just getting creepy. They just fly around the corner. Then, if they at least slow down a little, they wouldn't be too bad, but they don't even slow down. The other question, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to direct this to the fire department or not, but when they send out their, what's it called, the envelopes for donations, since we have 3 fire companies, but we only have 2 that are active. So if a check is sent out, I'm just gonna pick a number. Let's say I send out a $60 check. Does that $60 check get split between the 2 active fire companies? Or does it get split 3 ways?
I'll ask one of the, if anybody can answer that question. Chip, did you know, or?
Currently, it gets split 3 ways in the end. Can't change that until whatever the council decides to do with Union Fire Company.
Okay, if a check is sent out and made out to a certain fire department, can that be accepted?
Yes,
They can?
yes.
Okay. So for now, I guess we just have to dodge the cars coming down 14th Avenue.
Yes.
Can I just make a comment about a traffic issue that I've come across too? I'm sorry, but I almost got hit twice in Piano Plaza parking lot. There's a cross in the middle with no signage whatsoever, stops or anything. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's stop signs in front of like 10th Ave Burrito. There's a stop sign in front of like the dollar store. But the one main way that people, there's no signage either way. Can you just look at it? Sure. Thank you.
Any other traffic issues?
On the other party.
Dan on 14th Avenue, why can't you take those 2 signs that go to the right? That says, you know, you come up, there's some arrows pointing to the right because they can't go to the left. Remove those and put another stop sign up there because they just ignore that stop sign. They just blow through it like it's not there. Is there any reason why you couldn't take those?
I have to look at it. I don't-
Okay, because they only see is those arrows that say to the right only. Stop signs there.
A majority of turns like that, there is no stop sign. So you're
Well,
one
there's-
up on, my street's the same way.
Yeah,
The end of my street, it curves.
Yeah.
There's no stop sign.
There is a stop sign in that corner.
That's what I'm saying. You
Yeah.
have a stop sign.
Yeah. And they
I'm just
ignore
saying,
it.
a majority of turns like that do
Yeah.
not have a stop sign.
Well, apparently. they
So
don't.
you are one step ahead of everybody else. You're one step ahead of me on my street. My street does the same exact thing.
Okay,
So-
good enough. And one other question. I know I brought this up probably earlier in the year. Has the borough put any budget into painting the water tower? It looks like. Because I think it would look better if it was painted because it's all black and under the bottom. You look at it every morning, it's like, and it doesn't, you can barely read the sign Belmar. I'm just wondering if anybody had been
I
appropriate.
think we mentioned that once before, and it's on our schedule of things that need to be do because it's quite expensive
I know that.
to do that. That's like a major undertaking.
And if you look at a lot of the other towns, their showers look pretty good. Ours,
Yeah.
you know, it's an embarrassment.
Yeah. It's almost a 4-figure,
Okay.
7-figure cost to do that.
Get a few trim monkeys.
It has to be fixed.
All right, thank you.
There's more to it. Any other comments? You don't have to comment. You don't want to. I'm just kidding.
Barry Lubin, 15th Avenue. Concerning the possible, probable closure of the fire company, who owns that building? Who owns those vehicles?
The borough owns all the firehouses and all the vehicles,
Okay, so
all
that
the
would,
equipment.
so the 2 pieces of major equipment that are there would be divvied up? We don't know.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
and bacon. My sister told me I can't say what I want to say, so I will wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Any other comments? Okay.
Can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Please stop at all stop signs.
We stop at all stop signs. I'm telling you,